And that's my wild story about Nancy and when she bit the cop. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a story time. In my first video, I had mentioned that I work in the grocery store, and working in this grocery store has allowed me to see and meet a lot of interesting people. This particular store that I work in now, I used to work in when I was 16, and I left to a different location, and now I'm back. So I'm going to be telling you about a customer that I've known since I was probably 16. I'm 27 now, so it's been a while. And she's this sweet little old lady, and she always comes in, gets her morning coffee, and we talk. She's kind of a little grumpy to some people, but that's okay. And this poor little old lady gets seizures from time to time. Well, the other day I was working, doing my little thing in my department, and my manager comes up to me and lets me know that the fire department had dropped off her bike to us and said she's around the corner and she had a seizure. I'm like, Jesus Louisa. So I go out there and she's sitting on the floor with the fire department around her, all pissy, and I go, well, what happened, Nancy? And she says, oh, nothing. And they asked if I knew her, and I said yes. It's not the first time I had dealt with something like this before. Side note, I'll tell you a little story of what happened to her a couple weeks ago, but at the end of the story. So, I'm talking to the fire department, and they're telling her she needs to go to the hospital, and she's telling them drop dead, and I'm like, well, you can't really say that to people. And I was like, well, you need to go. And she's like, go where? And I'm like, to the hospital. And she's like, no, you can take me home. And I was like, this time I'm not taking you home. We're going to the hospital. And she's like, no. And she's telling the freaking fire department, drop dead. Everyone can drop dead. And I'm just like, stop saying things like this. Like, we're going to the hospital. And the fire department goes, look, Nancy, if you don't go with us, the cops are going to come and they're probably not going to be so nice about it. And she's drop dead. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So, zoom, down the hill comes the cop. And he goes, all right, Nancy, let's go. And she's like, no, I'm not going. And so she starts to stand up. And I'm like, okay, good. She's going to go. And she starts kind of walking away. And I'm like, whoa, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going to get my coffee. And I was like hell you are. And I'm like, oh no, I'm holding her, and the cops are trying to grab her, and I'm like, no, everyone just needs to calm down for a second. This is out of control. And so she's arguing with me, I'm arguing with her, the fire department's like, what the hell's going on? The cop's like, what's going on? And so she's not going to listen to me, so I'm like, all right, you're going to go with the cop. They're going to put you on the gurney, and you're going to go. And she's like, I'm not going. So I step back, I tell the cop, go ahead, she's not gonna listen. And so he goes to like rest his arm on her shoulder, like guide her to the gurney, and she goes to bite him, and I'm like, no, Nancy, what are you doing? And she's like, drop dead. And so now they're wrestling with her, and I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm just standing back like I can't even handle this anymore. This is out of control. And so they pick her up and they're getting her on the gurney, and she starts screaming, oh I'm like, no, what's going on? This is too much. And finally they get her on. She starts kicking the cop, and I'm like, you gotta stop. Like, they're gonna do something. And there she goes. They just wheel her away. I go back to work. And I'm just like planning on seeing her when I get out, going over to the hospital. So fast forward to my day a little, and I'm in the check stand checking away, and I look up. There's Nancy. And I'm like, Nancy, what are you doing here? It's a surprise to see you. And she's like, well, it's going to be a surprise when they can't find me in the hospital. And I'm like, Lord, what have you done? She's like, I just got up and left. She's like, where's my bike? I need my bike. I'm like, okay, well, let's go get your bike. So we walk over to the office, and I get her bike. She gets her coffee. I offer to give her a ride home. She says nope, and off she goes up the little hill on her bike. And I'm just like, lady, you're crazy. But that's that story. It was quite an eventful day. And now for my second story. This one is not funny. This first story was just slightly funny because she was okay. But second story, I'm more pissed at this customer than anything. I wasn't here this day, but I saw it on the videotape the next day. So Nancy has her little shopping cart and she's shopping along on the aisle, has a seizure in the aisle, takes down her cart, goes down with her. I'm like watching the video. I look down the aisle and there's a freaking customer just shopping around, oblivious to life, and poor little Nancy on the floor, like done on the floor. And so he walks up to her. Well, he walks up to where she is and tries to step around her, like, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Oh, nope, can't go that way. Oh, I'm gonna go this way. Nope, can't go that way. I suppose I'll call for help. And my manager comes rushing over, and he just leaves. He was just trying to step over this little old lady that had fallen on the floor and is incoherent. Like, F this guy. That's what I have to say. And that's my wild story about Nancy and when she bit the cop. Alright, well that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed my wild grocery store story, I definitely have more. Nothing as serious as Nancy's, but definitely some funny ones. So feel free to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I will be posting every Thursday, so stay tuned for that. And that's it. Bye!
All day long, I think